This was absolutely fantastic as Xavier Tillman and Jaden Springer both got to play versus the Chicago Bulls last night, and we saw Xavier Tillman show out, putting up 2 points and a block in a limited time. We'll be diving in, looking at how impactful Xavier Tillman and Jaden Springer could be for these stay-ready Celtics. And we'll be also looking at the possibility of the Celtics getting a sneaky signing for their 15th and final roster spot. All of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz. But before we dive in on this Boston Celtics content, 78% of you guys are not subscribed, and we'd greatly appreciate if you hit that big old red subscribe button and join the Celtics Digest family. To the thousands of you guys who watch our videos every single day and want to make sure you stay up on daily Boston Celtics content coverage like this one, hit that subscribe button as you definitely will not regret it. But let's dive into the news at hand today. Make sure to grab a snack as it is going to be a jam-packed episode as we got two topics to cover in today's episode. The first one we'll be covering is a possible signing on the buyout market, and it being a sneaky signing for the Boston Celtics. And if you guys do not know, the Celtics still do have one open roster spot following the trade deadline. A lot of Celtics fans, including myself, thought they would use the Grant Williams traded player exception to nab that 15th roster spot guy, but Brad Stevens had some other plans in his mind. He ultimately moved off of Dalano Banton for Jaden Springer, basically, and moved off of Lamar Stevens for Xavier Tillman, leaving the Celtics with a little bit of flexibility just in case someone to get injured or if there was a new star to be in the buyout market that the Celtics could want and go out and get. And that sneaky signing could possibly be a guy in Otto Porter Jr. We'll dive in looking at this article from Celtics Wire, which titles, "Should the Celtics consider Otto Porter Jr. if the veteran wing hits the buyout market?" Now, at this time of the writing, the Boston Celtics still have an open roster spot and could look to add another player ahead of the postseason. That may be signing an existing free agent or adding a player who accepts a contract buyout in the next few days and weeks. As such, one name to monitor might be Utah Jazz veteran Otto Porter Jr. Otto Porter Jr. joined the Jazz at the trade deadline of this year, getting traded from Toronto in that Kelly Olynyk deal. And according to The Athletic's Tony Jones, Utah is giving the 30-year-old time to evaluate his options. The Jazz are unlikely to make a run at a playoff berth, and a contract buyout would allow Otto Porter Jr. a chance to join a contender before the regular season ends. The Celtics are considering their options, and after adding Xavier Tillman and Jaden Springer, could Boston prioritize bringing in an experienced player to round out this roster? Now, in my personal opinion, I think Otto Porter Jr. could be a solid piece for the Celtics to bring in. He adds, like the article mentioned, a veteran wing type of player that could help out. In my honest opinion, Otto Porter Jr. in the last recent years hasn't looked the greatest since his finals run, and after suffering some injuries and him getting a little bit older in age, I don't know if he's necessarily the piece that the Celtics would want to go out and get with this 15th roster spot. The Celtics still could also make a guy in Neemias Queta a standardized contract, and that's a possibility that Celtics fans are wanting and waiting for as well, so we'll have to wait and see as the deadline gets closer. Brad Stevens has said ultimately, though, that he does want to keep all his options open, like the article mentioned, so will probably happen around the deadline, which is around March 3rd. If we want to keep diving in at this article, though, Porter has been in the league since he was drafted with the number 3rd overall pick by the Wizards in the 2013 draft, and since then he's been a sturdy role player and helped the Golden State Warriors defeat the Celtics in the finals. The following year, though, Horford suffered a toe injury and underwent season-ending surgery, and then during the 2023-24 campaign, Porter has seen limited playing time, though he's shooting at a serviceable 34.8% on three-pointers. Not for nothing, though, he's also a St. Louis native. Trading for Porter at the deadline didn't make much sense for Boston, but as a buyout candidate, he's a low-risk addition with good experience to offer. The Celtics are prioritizing a veteran wing. He might be the pick. And like I said just recently, he is a nice veteran wing, and he is a St. Louis native, which I did not know prior to reading this article. So that could be cool, having some connections with Jayson Tatum could possibly link him wanting to come for this team. But like I mentioned earlier, Otto Porter Jr., if we want to look at his stats, 2.6 points, 1.9 rebounds, 0.5 assists, hasn't gotten that many looks, 42% from the field, 35% from three basically, and 100% from free throw. And the reason I feel he hasn't gotten that many looks is just because he's an older guy and he's tended to slow down with the injuries. And that is my one reasoning why, even though he could be a utility guy, kind of thrown in the mix, could be, kind of defensive Sam Hauser to throw out there at some points of time. Not going to be the best three-point shooter. He could be an all right piece. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. But personally, I think that the Celtics have a guy that they already got from the trade deadline that is going to be getting more minutes as we keep seeing him play. And I don't think that Otto Porter Jr. would find a necessary role for the Boston Celtics that he would want and the Celtics would want to give him. Therefore, if Porter Jr. still wants to join a contender, I don't think the Celtics are the best fit. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. We're going to be diving in on this next part, talking about how Xavier Tillman is the perfect fit, and this is the reason why I believe that the Boston Celtics should not go after a guy named Otto Porter Jr., as I feel that Xavier Tillman already is that perfect fit for this team. Kind of plays a similar role to how Otto Porter Jr. would play. Otto Porter Jr. a little bit smaller, but he has slowed down a little bit, would be playing the 4. And I think Xavier Tillman being that bigger guy, wanting to do posts up as he mentioned in his pregame earlier. He loves to do post-ups. Memphis never does post-up. The Celtics do post-ups. He wants post-ups on mismatches like Kristaps Porzingis, and I think he's truly going to excel in the system. We already saw Xavier Tillman take his first minutes for the Boston Celtics in last night's garbage minutes, last 3 minutes of the game versus the Chicago Bulls, and I already saw some great pieces that I want to highlight. We want to look at Xavier Tillman's stats from last night. Like I mentioned, only played 3 minutes, so he didn't get that much time. Him and Springer played exactly the same amount of minutes, but he nailed 2 points, 1 for 1 from the field with 1 block. He did have 1 foul as well. But Xavier Tillman was looking like he could be that hidden gem, that hidden piece, and it looks like Brad Stevens has struck again and done a perfect move for the Boston Celtics here. Like I mentioned, Xavier Tillman is that guy, and he's, a great defensive piece, but he has to work on his offensive game. The Celtics have known that, and that was why some Celtics fans were kind of questioning this pickup, just because Memphis knew that he wasn't a great offensive piece, but first post play that he had in those last 2 minutes looked nice. And then he had, some great defense as well, his talented and known thing, playing some good defense. Yeah, he had 1 foul, but he still was holding it down for those 3 minutes. And he got a nasty block as well, and with the last 30 seconds left. And that was a big moment for me to see as a fan, just because you see that he cares and that he wants to try. He also had this quote coming out before the game where Xavier Tillman talked about making his Celtics debut this morning, saying he wanted to bring that energy, crash the glass, and defend at a high level. We're a stay-ready team. And I couldn't agree more with that quote right there from Xavier Tillman. Guys like Oshae Brissett, Lamar Stevens before he was traded, Dalano Banton before he was traded, Spima Hailuk, those guys are stay-ready guys. They're at the end of the rotation, they barely play, but when their number is called and they have to be ready to take on that role that they're called for, they need to take it and dominate. And a guy like Xavier Tillman did that last night. He also gave up a nice pass to Jaden Springer at the three-point line. We hope that Jaden Springer could get his first basket as well. Unfortunately for Jaden Springer, he did miss that three-pointer, but Xavier Tillman, making plays for the right team, seems to be buying it and wants to be a stay-ready guy. It seems like he fits that Celtic culture already, and this is going to make me a bigger fan of him because we have his bird rights. So if he excels into this role that he has, maybe can get a playoff role for the Boston Celtics, and he can be a long-term addition. The Celtics got an absolute steal at the trade deadline, basically giving up Lamar Stevens and 2 second-round picks for a guy who can be a long-term piece for this roster. And also, additionally, I want to mention that Luke Kornet develops and plays fantastic last night as well. Luke had his dabs, which I did not get in this GIF right here, but I want to let you know that the Luke Kornet dab GIF is available on Twitter, and you can use it your heart's content. But a guy like Xavier Tillman playing alongside Luke Kornet could have some good matchups as well as a backup 4, and I truly believe that Xavier Tillman is going to be the replacement for Al Horford for this future squad. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below as well. Do you guys possibly like the Porter Jr. signing, or do you guys think that Xavier Tillman is the real deal and we have our future piece here? Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Veliz, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.